Meet Serena, your virtual companion for emotional support. The ultimate safe space to discuss your thoughts, your fears, and the ups and downs of daily life. Start your free trial today at serena.chat.
My 28F boyfriend's 33M dog is ruining our relationship. I'm considering ending things. I just want to preface this by saying I used to work at a veterinary hospital. We have 4 dogs, and I am a huge dog lover and advocate for dogs. This is not an easy post to write, and I have been struggling with these feelings every day. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. We have 4 dogs. We each had a dog prior to meeting, and then we adopted 2 once we moved in together. Our 2 OG dogs are seniors. Mine is 9, his is 15, husky mix. His dog, let's call him Greg, had a lot of behavior issues in his prime. He is old now and not the dog he used to be, but in a way that makes things worse. My boyfriend has a demanding job and is almost never home. He works at 6 a.m. and a lot of times he just works 24-hour shifts, sleeps at work, and jumps into his next shift. I see him about 1-2 times a week right now. Without us really ever having a conversation about it, Greg has become my responsibility. If I ever have the audacity to bring up the fact that I'm basically Greg's primary caregiver, boyfriend gets angry and it starts a fight. Greg is old. Greg is old. Greg is old. That's the only thing I can tell myself to keep myself from breaking down entirely. He requires 6 different medications 3x a day. I work 4 days in the office and 2 days at home. When I work remotely I have a lot more freedom, but my entire day is usually spent taking care of Greg. My other dogs are easy and sweet. Greg fights his medication, he shits in the house constantly, always after going out to go potty. No matter how long our walks are, or how much time we spend outside, he holds it and then poops in the house. And what's worse, he's always pooping on my other dogs' beds, then stepping in and smashing the poop into the bedding. So I am constantly doing laundry, and usually lugging shit-covered beds to the laundromat, $30 a week. Not to mention I have to bleach mop my floors after he poops, so I have to lock my dogs in a room, mop, dry the floors, and then let them out. I almost never get my lunches or breaks to focus on myself or the other dogs. No, he won't use potty pads. If I put potty pads on the beds, he rips them off. Today I calm home to my other 3 big dogs cowering on the couch and afraid to come down to the floor to greet me. They're never like that, so I was immediately put off. Not 2 steps in the door, it hits me. Greg had exorcist vomited all over the floor, walked through it, tracked it through each room, and my other dogs didn't want to step in it. I don't blame them. He does this all the time because he drinks an entire bowl of water too quickly and then vomits everywhere. I've tried to kennel Greg, but he screams and throws his geriatric body against the walls of the kennel. I can't put him in another room with the door closed because he freaks out and pisses himself. We don't have an attached garage and we're in an apartment, so I don't have a yard to stick him in. He also slips and falls and can't get himself up without help. I've had to hang up on clients and blame faulty connection because he's fallen and pissed himself and begun to scream at the top of his lungs. The worst part is that we have been to 3 different vets, and they all say the same thing. He's still bright and alert, still eating and drinking, and there's no reason to put him down. But what quality of life is this? And what the fuck, what about me? My mental health is suffering. My job performance is struggling. My other dogs are losing out because all of my time is spent caring for Greg, whom I have grown to resent a lot. And I feel bad for my other dogs. I used to take them to the dog beach or park for 2 hours a day, lunch and after work. We would go on 3-4 walks a day, play at the park, and lately I've been so burnt out without my boyfriend being around that we're only going on 2 short walks a day. I am considering ending my relationship over this. Is that a valid reason? Is it worth waiting out? Am I a huge a-hole? I don't know what to do anymore. To me this is a no-brainer. Something has to change and you have to invoke it. He can choose between you or his dog. It's not on you what he does with the dog. It's not on you to solve this. Make it a simple choice, but prepare to leave. This guy needs to care of his dog. Give him an ultimatum. Sounds like it's time to tell your BF. I will take the other dogs and stay with my mom for a month. Figure out what to do with OL Greg. I will no longer care for him. At the end of the month you either have a solution for Greg or you will be single. I do not blame you one bit. Many boarders will take the dog for the day and do meds at an extra price. Your boyfriend needs to provide that care if he isn't ready to euthanize the dog. Also call around for home euthanasia. They tend to have a different perspective since their job is to release suffering, whereas a vet gets their payday from keeping pets in treatment. How many pictures of all the messes are you sending your boyfriend on his phone? At the very least it sounds like your boyfriend has no idea what's going on. Send daily updates for a week if you can handle it. Otherwise, Greg is going to the vet right now, today. Your boyfriend will break up with you, but it's probably worth it. 48F54M together 9 years cheating? Seeking advice regarding interpreting a text husband sent to me, but meant for someone else. We've been married almost 6 years. Here's the text. There will be others there, so no affection in public. Grin. Immediately followed with, maybe a hug. My stomach sank. I saw him soon after and wanted to catch him off guard before he realized what he sent. I asked him to explain the text. He was taken aback, hadn't realized it was sent to me. It took him a minute and he seemed to be trying to figure it out. Either he was legitimately confused or he was trying to figure out a cover-up. And then he said he meant to text it to his daughter that morning. She's 19, my stepdaughter, and used to be clingy with him out of nervousness in public sometimes, and they were possibly going to be out with some of his friends later. I had another commitment. He said on their recent trip overseas she started doing more of that clingy behavior, which I have not seen in a while. I told him if the text was meant for her that morning, it would have been sent to me accidentally that morning. I also called bullshit on the language he used. I believe he would have asked her not to hang on him, or not to be clingy, but those words. Super affair sounding to me. Then he said maybe he accidentally sent it to his other female friend who was going to maybe meet up, they were going to trivia. Said he hoped if he did she didn't think he was coming on to her. I told him to check his texts. He said he deleted it because he often deletes texts after sending. I've seen him do this, but I saw him scrolling though his texts and there were still lots of text threads on there. He has lots of female friends. I have lots of male friends. That doesn't bother me. But something still does not add up. I read a little about possible signs someone is lying. Sometimes they will place furniture between you and them. I remember he stood around the dining room table and pulled a chair out some and stood sorta behind it and placed his hands on the back. I keep coming back 3 things. 1. The verbiage is not what I would think a parent would use with their kid to ask them to not be clingy in front of friends. 2. If he said he thought he sent that earlier in the day, it would have come through to me before the other texts. Not at 4:15 in the afternoon after my text that I'd be home soon. And 3. Bottom line, my gut is telling me he's lying. Maybe he hasn't done anything yet, but he's leading someone or he actually has done something. I told him to think hard on this, that if there's something happening, please tell me within a day and maybe we can work through it. But if I find out later that there's something going on and that he lied when I asked about it, there's no coming back for me. Also of note, we have been seeing a couples therapist and individual therapists and have been making lots of progress. We weren't in crisis, but we have childhood trauma which impacted our marriage. Also, he's cheated in a prior serious relationship. Please weigh in and advise how you'd interpret this and what you'd advise. From the way you've written this, you know he's cheating on you. Sorry. Ask him, with the counselor there. Just say, are you cheating? Yes or no? Who was the text really meant for? Sadly, people who cheat are more likely to always be cheaters. Others there. If it was for his kid he'd say my friends will be there. At least that's what I think. And, affection, just seems off. Right? Listen to your gut. I just wish I had. Your story is very similar to mine. Looking back, I should have heeded this sign. Also, he has been unusually calm in demeanor when talking about this. That's a red flag to me. He's clearly full of shit. If it was an innocent text he wouldn't need to sit there thinking up a cover story. You knew he was a dog before you married him and now you're finding fleas. I am a 33M married to a 29F. I have no feeling for my wife. I am a 33M married to a 29F for the past 4 years. We both are of conservative Indian background. I was originally supposed to marry my then girlfriend, but due to her parents not agreeing to the marriage due to differences in race and incompatibility of our horoscope, they ill-treated my dad and looked down on us. I was down and out with what had happened. Seeing all this, my dad arranged a marriage for me, which is very common in India. I was not interested, but he threatened to hurt himself if I didn't go through with it. So I agreed to it as I feared for the safety of my father. My wife apparently wanted to study masters after her bachelor degree, but her father pushed her to get married as this is a priority for many Indian parents. We both got married this way. After marriage, she has voiced out she is unhappy with my parents' house and our lifestyle. She even went back to her parents' house as she was not happy. When I tried to get her back, she didn't want to come home. When I spoke to her parents, they voiced out they were scared she would commit S.E. but begged me to overlook her behavior. So, we live in our own house now as this solves most of the issues. When she wants something, she won't eat as a way for me to look into it. She is also suffering from a medical condition. Coming to the point I get to realize that I have no feelings for her. I have forced myself to love her, but I have been unsuccessful. I am unable to clearly voice it out as I fear whatever I do I will hurt her parents or my parents, and I am thinking of worst case scenarios where she will hurt herself like her parents have expressed. I didn't want to do anything in haste, so I gave it a year, but things have not changed. I have kept it to myself. This has led me to have panic attacks and I have lost complete interest at work. I just want to run away somewhere. Even though all this has happened, I cannot point out any particular thing that I expect from her as I have no feelings for her. I have decided that I want to get out this relationship, so my questions are: 1. Is there any advice you guys can provide on how I can end this relationship? 2. How can I protect her from doing anything stupid like she committing S.E.? Your religious parents are culturally indoctrinated. There's no way this ends well for anybody besides you. Accept that your life and your needs matter. Accept that your parents and your wife will end up upset and hurt. Because nobody here seems to value you or your feelings. Accept that other people committing suicide and self-harm are not your fault and they are not caused by your actions. You need to get yourself away from your wife. Insert your boundaries. And cut out anybody who tries to emotionally blackmail you. Family, friends or spouse. Only when you are free of toxic relationships can you be independent and happy. Sorry this is happening to you. And I hope you manage to escape this situation. Talk to her. She clearly isn't happy with your relationship and will probably appreciate a way out, and it will be easier to get an escape while working together. I'm not familiar with your culture, so I need to ask, what would happen to the both of you, if you choose to divorce? Is there anything to keep her, or you in this marriage? You seem very unhappy, panic attacks, etc. She seems very unhappy, threatening to harm herself, and not eating instead of speaking her mind. Both of your families seem unhappy. Why would you cling to an obvious mistake? What's there to lose? I'd sit down with her, and ask her kindly, if she'd rather end this marriage, too. This poor woman. No choice in who she married and shackled to a man who doesn't care about her. What on earth makes you think she wants to live in your parents' house? You're not the wrong party here. You should have zero expectations of her. She was essentially sold to your family. The best thing you can do for her is support her in getting her master's. You can also find a place for you to both live so you can have your own lives. Do you not work? India has a thriving economy. We have people moving back there from the US because there are better opportunities over there. You're worried that divorce will make you look like you used her? You did use her. You used her to placate your parents and to get over your ex. Get her into therapy. You said it yourself that she is unhappy with the relationship, so when she is able to cope with that with therapy, you may be able to safely end the marriage. For your parents, you can just explain them your unhappiness and they should be able to understand, but if they threaten to hurt themselves again, that's just manipulative of them. In all honesty, they should be understanding and respect your decisions. My F26, BF, M35, of 6 months lied to me about his age. How can I even process this? So I met my boyfriend online around 8 months ago. He introduced himself as a 31-year-old dude. We hit it off soon. We don't live in the same city but still close by. I've met his friends and he's met mine. He's been nothing but wonderful to me these 6 months. He's understanding, he is listening to me, he likes traveling and spending time together, he is always trying to include my friends and my interests in our relationship. He's generous, thoughtful. I could go on for hours. But that view of him was tainted yesterday. We were driving back home from our vacation place. I knew his B-day was coming up. I was confused for a second and asked him, "Are you turning 31 or 32? He started stuttering and he ended up not being sure about the year he was born, like 91 or 92. I was like, what the fuck, I don't believe you, I want to see your ID. And then he said I am right to not believe him cause he's been lying to me. He said he is 35. I can't even describe how heartbroken I've been since. I asked him why. He said he doesn't know why he lied to me. Probably to appear more likable so I give him a chance. I asked why didn't he say anything sooner. He said he was too scared and insecure and didn't want to lose me. Said he was feeling like a boss all the time. He reminded me of a few times he'd said to me, "I don't deserve you," that this is the reason he said stuff like this. 'Cause he knew I deserved better than being lied to. But he still didn't have the guts to accept it. I don't even know how to feel now. All this time, he was supporting this lie. He met my friends, introduced to them, even joked about how it feels to enter his 30s with so much ease. He was lying to my face all this time. So, do you guys think this is a white lie? Should I really worry about his personality? About him being untrustworthy overall? How can I go about rebuilding trust if I decide to be with him? Too long did not read. My boyfriend is overall great, but he had been lying to me about his age. He is 35, but said 31. He was too scared to reveal the truth. He accepted it after I confronted him. Should I worry about his personality and his trustworthiness as a whole? Absolute red flag. If he's going to lie about this, it shows a lack of respect for you. He put his own interest above yours, taking away your choice in the matter. Age gap relationships are a problem to most people for a reason. 6 months and he didn't tell you, you found out. Big red flag. You know you wouldn't have dated a 35-year-old. Now you should know not to date a 35-year-old liar. Oh look. A 35-year-old looking to date a woman almost a decade younger and he turns out to be an immature liar. Shocking. The whole, "I don't deserve you" thing is a classic manipulation technique. He lied to you, he is at fault, he whines and does that number to get you to comfort him. Break up with him. I asked him why, he said he doesn't know why he lied to me, probably to appear more likable so I give him a chance. Lies. He knows why he lied. He lied because he wanted to date someone much younger. The last guy the first dated that lied about his age also lied about not having a girlfriend, about his job title, his history, about his views on monogamy and our relationship status. So, be very, very wary. It's a stupid thing to lie about and is indicative of much more he could be fudging on.